Hey everybody, it's Mark Schultz here, and we are live with another edition of Recovery in Aviation. Thanks for joining us. Hey, today you're going to want to stand by because we have some exciting things to talk about. We're going to talk about what's happening in the industry, how is it impacting the industry, but especially we have a special guest today, and we're going to talk about how to start, grow, and run and exit your business. Stand by. You are not going to want to miss this. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you today?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Greg.
Hey, everybody out there, just for your information, you know that I'm Mark Schultz, and this is my business partner, Larry Little. And we also have with us today, Greg Hine, and we'll get to an introduction in a second. But hey, before we do that, I want to just ask for all of you that are out there watching today, would you help us out in this discussion? We are passionate about getting the word about recovery in aviation out, and we would appreciate it if you would share this broadcast and if you would just join in and comment and be part of this conversation. We're going to have an opportunity to have live Q&A today, and we're going to be able to answer questions about business and how to be successful in business within aviation. And so all you have to do is down in the comment box, just put a comment about your question. And also, we always like to know who's out there watching. So if you would just tell us who you are and where you're watching from, we would really appreciate it. Just throw it down in the comment box. We love to see where people are watching from. Hey guys, let's jump right in. Hey, before we get started, I want to make certain that people know who the two of you are. Larry, they've all seen Larry, quite a bit here all the time. Larry, just for people watching, if they haven't seen us before, Larry, just tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey, Mark, thanks for the opportunity. And like you said, I'm usually with you on these Wednesday morning broadcasts. I spent a lot of time at Boeing, kind of guiding Boeing and other companies through digital transformation, and just love doing that and want to continue it.
Awesome. Fantastic. And then our special guest today is Greg Hine. Greg, thanks for joining us today. Greg, can you tell everybody watching today who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Mark, Larry, thanks for having me. First off, appreciate you having me on here. This is maybe my third or fourth time joining you guys.
Yeah.
Just appreciate what you're doing for the industry, what you've done for us. And for myself, and just promoting, all the different products, services, all the news, everything that's going on here in the industry. So just want to thank you for that. But
Thanks,
myself, I've spent the last, 10, 12 years inside of business aviation. I was the former president at Flight Docs, which we provided maintenance tracking software, flight operations software. Last year, Flight Docs was acquired by ATP. I spent about a year at ATP as their chief strategy officer and chief marketing officer. And over the last few months, I'm on a little bit of a break. Left ATP back in May, and ready to jump back into things here as the summer wraps up and the kids go back to school.
Great. Well, hey, Greg, we're really glad to have you on the show here today. And everybody out there watching, all of us that are entrepreneurs dream about starting, running, growing, and selling a business. And so what we're going to talk about today, after we do a little bit of discussion about news and things, is exactly that. So stand by. You're going to want to hear this good discussion because Flight Docs is just such a good example of that and what happened. And we have the expert Greg here with us. Hey, before I go on to talking about the news, I always like to recognize people that are out there in the audience because it's fun, because we like to know who's out there. And starting at the top of the list, looks like we have a friend of yours, Andy Nixon, who's out there watching. And then we also have a viewer from Jordan, Shahid. Welcome. Glad to have you with us. We have Arnand, joining us from India. Thanks for joining us from India. And then we have a viewer from Indonesia, Wibisono from Indonesia, and we have Harun from Turkey, and we have our old faithful friend Simon Barker with Aerospace Tech Review magazine coming to us from the UK. And Simon, I love it when you watch, and he's got a show coming up, I think, later this year, but you guys should keep an eye on their magazine. They have some great content in that magazine to help those of you that want to learn about the industry. Hey, listen, if there's anybody else out there watching, there always is. Only a handful of people usually tell us who they are and where they're watching from, but tell us where you are, and we'll put you up on the screen and acknowledge you. Hey, listen, want to jump into talking about some news because, what's happening in the industry, we're talking about recovery in aviation, and it definitely drives the success of our businesses. So we want to start out by talking about news. Hey guys, I saw that Boeing was increasing in profits, again this year. Larry, how do you think they're doing right now?
I think that was great news to see a little bit of profitability at Boeing and to see them finally coming out of the woods and, more and more Maxes being delivered and entering the service is fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, Greg, you've been actively involved in business aviation. I see that Hawaiian is talking about maybe using electric aircraft. What do you think about electric aircraft being used in the industry today?
Definitely interesting. I think personally, I think we're still a little bit of a ways off for that to really become a reality, but there's a lot of investment going on here in trying to find, alternative types of aircraft. And so it's definitely a lot going on there. You'll see some of the different players like Embraer is trying to get involved in that a bit more. So yeah, I think we're still a few years out, but it's exciting to see the new innovations that are going on.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just a few years ago, Greg, I didn't even think that electric aircraft were possible in, my lifetime. I mean, you just think about the weight and how long batteries last and things like that. Just the whole thing is just, it changed so fast in just 5 years. It's unbelievable. I'm really, really excited about electric aircraft and where they're going to grow into the future. It's really amazing. Yeah. Hey, just a few things here in the U.S., aviation and air traffic is picking up just dramatically. Frontier has just been expanding and they've been having sales and, bringing people in like crazy. Larry, you were telling me some news about Delta, recently.
Well, I think you're right, Mark. I mean, what's going on at Frontier is amazing. Delta announced they're hiring 5,000 people to be able to keep up with demand. And I think there's some frustration with some of Delta's customers about their customer service, and their CEO came out with a statement just in the last day or two that they're really, they're going to hire 5,000 people and really make a commitment to go back to what Delta's known for, is customer service.
Yeah, so we know that the industry is really growing and the system has really been under stress. And one of the things that we've seen too is that fuel has been a problem. In some of the areas, especially in the western part of the country, there's been lack of fuel, and some of the airlines we've been talking about tankering. Larry, you gave me a story yesterday about just flying in general aviation. You said something about refueling the aircraft.
It's funny, Mark. I'm a private pilot, and even for us private pilots, fuel is a problem. We're warned that if you're going to go somewhere, you better make sure there's fuel where you're going. And, that's just never been a problem before. And, we used to always fly with the airplane full. And now it's like, if you don't need to top up the airplane, just, don't do that, because there is, even at the private pilot Cessna 182 level, there's an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, another piece of news that I heard this week, which was really pretty exciting, and this starts driving us into the topic, Greg, of your business. I saw that El Al came out with some new applications this week, which were going to completely digitalize their cargo and pricing operations. And it was really pretty transformational. A lot of airlines are looking at and using this time where people are accepting digital today to be able to optimize and grow what they're doing, digitally. And so we're really seeing that grow. Another big piece of news that we heard is that in Europe, the Airports Council International came out with some new standards for airport digital standards, out there. So anyway, we're seeing a lot of that. But, Greg, that was really the core and heart of your business, was really focusing on how do you provide digital within, business aviation. Can you tell me just quickly what was really the core thing which initiated Flight Docs to start your business, some 13, 14 years ago?
Yeah, sure. Really, if you look at a lot of the support structure in aviation, it's a little bit behind the times in comparison to some of the other industries out there. But really, in the last few years, we've seen I'd say an exponential growth in the adoption of digital applications to solve some of these problems. And so with Flight Docs, where we got started was really trying to take a lot of the paper and the paper records out of the maintenance process in business aircraft, and take all those compliance records, everything that's done on the aircraft, and provide an electronic way to do that. And so back in 2003, when Flight Docs was first started, that's when internet, high-speed internet started making its way out to the airports, and we came out with really like the first web-based maintenance tracking platform. It was super basic back then, essentially like 4 buttons on a page, let you pull up a do list, let you see the current status of your aircraft, and that was about it. And over the next 15 years, the company really transformed where, it turned into where we developed the first iPad applications for these mechanics and technicians, where they could walk out to the aircraft, pull up a work order on their iPad, request parts, sign it off electronically, and execute their work without any paper whatsoever. So it came a long way. We solved a lot of problems. We really made flight departments and operations much more efficient, and in turn also increased the safety levels that they were able to operate in.
Now, Greg, just like today, back then you were really struggling, because I know that the acceptance of digital was not as much as what it is today. Boy, guys, as a matter of fact, we've had such an acceptance of digital just in the last 18 months. Just the acceleration has been dramatic. But you go back 12, 13 years ago, and so, it may not seem obvious, but what you guys were doing back then was pretty significant, because there were less people going to digital, full digital, than what there are today. There's no question about that.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely took some time to get that adoption. We released, I think the first iPad app was in 2012. So, almost 10 years ago. Yeah. And so we were definitely, I'd say, on the leading edge of bringing that technology into the industry. It took some time, but, the way that we approached it was just trying to keep it simple. We always focused on really delivering a streamlined user interface, and we're solving complex problems in maintenance and flight operations, but doesn't mean the interface and the platforms need to be that complex. And so tried to keep it simple, and along the way, we built out more and more features and expanded what we were able to offer to the industry.
Yeah.
And Mark and Greg, you mentioned it as well. We're still behind. I think we saw the pilots embrace new technology a lot quicker on the flight deck, but in mechanics, there's still a lot of paper that's being used on a daily basis, and I think we're moving forward with some of the stuff that you've done with the iPads and all that, but there's a long way to go. Yeah,
for sure, and I think that there's one of the things that you see a lot, and this is both in probably even more in commercial than it is in business aviation, is all of the different parts of the operations are siloed. So traditionally, there's a maintenance system, there's a flight operations system, there's a safety system. And I think that, one of the trends that we're seeing now is trying to integrate all of those things, whether it's integrating multiple products, or you start seeing companies that are moving towards more of an all-in-one solution, which ATP and Flight Docs was heading in that solution, in that direction. But there's also some other players that are looking to kind of expand into this space. There's a bunch of new products that are really looking to consolidate this data, provide new features and benefits to flight operations. So, I think it's going to be really exciting what happens here in the next couple of years in this segment of the industry.
Greg, you're spot on. It's that integrated value chain, Mark, that we've talked about forever. Integrating with the airplane, integrating with the logbook, integrating with the maintenance information, and having that visible to not only the mechanics, but to the flight crew and to the pilots.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I wanted to recognize a few more people that are watching. People always like to know that we're paying attention to them. And we have Matt Churches that has joined us. He watches a lot from Additive Materials in the UK. Thanks for joining today, Matt. We have Sacha Wenzel watching from New Zealand. Thanks. It's really appreciate you watching. It's probably pretty late there. We have my old friend, Max Oliveira. We used to work together at Northwest Airlines. Max is a great guy. I really like that guy. Max, thanks for joining today. We have Tim Alden who joined us. He's with Rusada, and they're also have an MRO system out there today. And I know you guys really embrace digital. Thanks for joining today. And then we have Sacha, who's got some comments. Again, we'll try to bring up some questions here in a bit. But hey, listen, I want to have just a little bit more of a chat about business aviation. Then I want to dig into, what caused you to start the business, Greg, back then. But we're seeing business aviation really taking off right now. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. All right, we're seeing business aviation really going right now. Okay, and I called a friend of mine. I called Renee Bengelsdorf this morning. She's the CEO of Charlie Bravo Aviation. And I just asked her, they sell airplanes, and I asked her what's happening with business jets today. And she told me that the inventory is really low, that business aviation is really going and their inventory is low, and there's a lot of people buying airplanes right now. And so are you guys seeing that out there today right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lot of activity. I think if you look at the flying that's going on right now, I think we're just right about up to where we were at in 2019. And so, we obviously had a dip last year. There was uncertainties about, where things were going with COVID, when things were going to be opening back up, but we've definitely seen a surge. And I think that, business aviation is definitely right back on the right track. And there's a lot of activity in the space when you look at the operators themselves, or you look at guys like Wheels Up going public here in the last week or two, and then you also have a lot of investment that's coming in. There's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of money that's flowing into business aviation where there may not have been in the past, and so. A lot of cool stuff happening, and I'm really happy to see the bounce back so quick.
Yeah, it's really fantastic. We're seeing Embraer's delivering more airplanes right now. Yeah. We're seeing manufacturers like Pratt & Whitney are increasing their support to be able to support the demand, in aircraft engines. And then also I saw that there was some FBOs that were expanding, building new hangars. There was a new maintenance hangar, different things like that happening. And all of that is indicators that we're seeing, success, and we're seeing things growing really within the industry. Hey, listen, I wanted to comment real quick. I wonder if there's a guy there on the bottom that just threw his name up there. I don't know if you know him or not. His name is Rick Noble. You ever heard of that guy before?
Sure have. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Rick. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, Rick is the CEO of ATP, and we're good friends, and we really appreciate all that you guys are doing for the industry and everything. Hey, listen, Rick, Greg, I want to go back for a second here, and I want to take a look at when you started your business, all right, is that we look at factors in the market today, we look at growth, and we look at things growing in the industry, we look at digital being accepted more. Can you tell us what causes the right situation or right time and opportunity to start any business? Why did you start Flight Docs back then?
Yeah, so I think really is the most important thing is that there has to be a need. There has to be a need for customers, and you need to provide a product that is going to give them a good return on investment. So whether that's creating efficiencies, whether that's creating safety, whether that's going to help them grow their business or cut costs, you need to really find something that's going to have an impact on your customers. And that's where I think Flight Docs and then ATP really had success in positioning a product where there was an obvious need in the industry to help these operators perform and track their maintenance.
So it's all about a demand in the marketplace, and it's all about satisfying the niche that's needed is what it was for you, right? Is what you're saying. You saw there was a need for maintenance and for records and for helping people to be able to better organize their aircraft basically and their record keeping and things like that, right? So you saw demand and a need, and you went after it, and you started to leverage early technology to be able to deliver something that wasn't able to be delivered before. You said when you joined there was only about 10 people over the first few years. When did the company really begin to grow, and why did it grow?
Yeah, sure. I think as an organization, and me personally, what I believe in is that you have to bring a great product and back it with great service. I think that in general with technology, you can only go so far. you have to have great people that are behind the product. And so, we always, and I was very involved in this in the early years, in taking the product, constantly working with customers or prospects, just working with the industry in general to understand, okay, where are you having issues or where could you be better? And then taking technology to solve those problems. And so it was constant reinvestment back into our platform. And then, constantly just working with our customers. We had our customer service policy, and it's still in place there today, is what we call the 2-ring policy. 2 rings, you call, you get a live person on the phone that can help you out. And so we really wanted that personal support. I'd say where things really took off is back in around 2016 timeframe. We developed a new version of our platform. It's actually the 3rd full version of the FlightDocs platform, which I was involved in, really working with our current customer base, and then looking towards larger operators and the needs that they had. And we launched what we called FlightDocs Enterprise, which allowed operations to go fully paperless, brought in these fully integrated mobile solutions, electronic signature, and then we also expanded into the inventory management and parts procurement area of their operation. And so I think that was kind of like where I considered the rebirth of FlightDocs, where we were able to really drive sales and continue to grow the company. And then following that, 2017, we started working with some outside investors, which helped us, create new strategies, bring some cash into the business, invest a little bit more, and really continued that growth even through the pandemic. Last year we had record months. And so really sticking to that core positioning is where we found our success.
So, Larry, I know that in the past you had mentioned to me that Boeing had taken a look at, FlightDocs. I don't know for what reason, but you had told me some of the things that had stuck out on that company, why it was interesting. Can you tell me what you had said?
Yeah, I think, Greg, I had the opportunity to meet you, 5 years ago, and work with you and the FlightDocs team while I was at Boeing. And I think from a Boeing perspective, the thing that was most impressive was your focus on the customer. And from an OEM, coming from an OEM background, that was one of the foundation at Boeing is the importance of the customer, and to see what you just described, and in the business aviation space, I think that's one of the keys to your success, and that was one of the things I think that interested us at Boeing the most of working with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. No, it was great, because Boeing had been a partner at FlightDocs for a long time. We worked together on the BBJ program. We were a recommended partner there. And in the last few years, working together with some of the parts integrations with ForeFlight, we had some reseller agreements. So it was definitely a great partnership working with you guys at Boeing. And
Yeah, great.
And as we've kind of talked over these last few sessions here, we talk about recovery in aviation or challenges right now, and that customer care is a key piece of recovery and seizing opportunities. Along with one other thing you mentioned, Greg, is talent. The talent that you guys were able to get and mature was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great team. Mark, you had mentioned when I started with the company, we had about 10 people. Up until about early 2020, we had about 100 people, and so we grew about 10 times over during that time. And a lot of that growth was, we were able to bring people in at the bottom level, right at the front lines, and had a lot of people that were able to, move up through the ranks and grow teams. And that's some of the best, the best parts of this last decade, the last 10 years, is seeing all this growth, working with these great people, and seeing what they're able to accomplish when you're empowering them to do so.
Hey, Greg, we have a lot of people watching out there, and I wanted to remind to them that if you have questions for Greg or anyone here on the panel, put your questions in the comments, and we'll try to answer them live here for you. But Greg, I wanted to ask you this: what was the biggest challenge in going from a 10-person company to a 120-person company?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's definitely. I think it is the people. It's finding the right people, so I think that's part of it. Is just sourcing really good people that can take on this responsibility and investing in their growth. It's not something that happens overnight, and there's a lot of ups and downs with it. And it's something that you really just have to continue to push through. I think the other part of it is really, taking the knowledge that you have, when you're working with a 10-person team, you're sharing a ton of different responsibilities from, I was doing product development, sales, marketing, customer service, kind of all at once. I knew the product, I knew the customers, and being able to, really now delegate some of those responsibilities as the team grows, pass on that knowledge, that takes some time. And going from a small company to, let's say, a mid-sized company, that's just one of the things that you have to do. If you try and hold on to everything yourself and do every piece and part of it, you're definitely going to get stuck. And so that took a little bit of time to learn, I'll say. But we were, ultimately so much more productive as we continue to expand the team.
So hey, Mark, I have no idea how Delta's going to bring in 5,000 people.
Yeah.
It's a huge organization, but
I know.
Wow, from a talent standpoint, from a culture standpoint, from the things you just described, how do you bring in anyway?
Yeah, the market is really challenged right now. Just it's really stressed. That's going to be hard for them to do that. They said people were on hold for like 9 hours. And that's really rough. You can't provide customer service like that. And the people that are saying that are not people that don't like Delta. They're saying, we like Delta. We understand the situation. You just got to figure out how to fix this, because, sometimes you have to talk to a customer service person. You can't do everything, on the website. And if you have to talk to somebody, it's like the death. Hey,
Mark, don't get me wrong. It's not just Delta. This is, we bring out Delta because it's timely, but it's across the board. United, it's at Southwest, it's at WestJet, it's at Air Canada, it's at Cathay, right?
Yeah. Hey, Greg, I wanted to kind of shift to the next part of this discussion. I want to talk a little bit about, you said that there was at a point in time where in 2016, 2017, that you started considering infusion of capital into the company and to grow. And I wanted to ask you is that, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I wanted to ask you, is that at that point in time, what caused the growth and what caused you to start looking at acquisitions or to be acquired, or why were people looking at you? Talk to me a little bit about how that process happened so people out there can understand in their business, how do they move toward that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think so. In 2017, we linked up with a PE firm called Argentum in New York. They ended up being great partners, but it took a long time for us to really commit to that. Being a completely bootstrapped company, no debt, self-funded, to bring in, let's say outsiders into that, into the mix was a big decision. It's a big decision for any entrepreneur or cell-phone company. And so, we went through that process. We found the right partner, and they helped us, exponentially. And so, that was in 2017. We continued to grow at a solid rate. And as we looked at, what's the next phase of FlightDocs, we said, okay, we're going to go out and do a second round of investment. And we ended up finding partners in ATP and Parker Gale and AKKR, which are the two PE firms that own ATP. And so, Going through that, we didn't necessarily expect to go through an acquisition. That's where it ended up. It was it turned out to be a great thing for all parties involved. And I think one of the things that, all the different companies out there now, or if you're looking to start a company, one of the things to consider is that PE is definitely interested in this space. You start seeing, if you look around at the news of some of the companies that are in this space and that are doing well, companies like Portside or JSSI, or X1 FBO, there are some great companies that are investing heavily in technology and are bringing in partners where they were, formerly, bootstrapped entrepreneurs. They've brought in great partners that have been able to, help fuel this growth. There's building technology and scaling a business is not cheap. And I would just, say that there's a lot of resources out there and people that can help you in accomplishing your goals. You don't have to necessarily do it on your own.
So, Greg, your first investment then was with a pure PE firm, was with Argentum, and then next you were out looking for investment, and you ran across ATP. Now, what made your company attractive to a company like ATP? They have portfolios, which are in different spaces, in commercial and in defense, and different things. Why was your company attractive to a company like that?
Yeah, I think, we were, in general, we were a fast growing SaaS, technology company, right? And so in general, there were a lot of companies that were interested in flight docks. For ATP, they were serving a couple different segments within the industry. And I think that for them, flight docks was a natural fit, and also provided some synergies in providing different services to different areas in the market where, their aviation hub served, where their diagnostics and troubleshooting platforms served, where their chronic defect platform served. And so there was some natural fits there, and I think it just made sense for them. And so they were very interested in bringing the two companies together.
So technology and product placement and the market space you were operating in, it just fit their portfolio, is what you're saying then, is kind of the bottom line.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hey, so what are some of the key things that a company should look at that will maximize the value of their company to someone that wants to buy them? What was it that caused your company to be, so valuable in the acquisition? What are the key things which made them valuable?
Yeah, sure. I'd say, first thing is, don't look at positioning a company to be bought as like your first thought, right? Because then you start making decisions, I think, that aren't in the best interest of the company and the customers, and in the long term, or in the short term, some of those things kind of become evident and can fall apart. And so I think that really what you should be focusing on is providing products and services that you can sell and build a scalable business on. I think it's tough to, if you have a really complex product that you want to sell and there's only 5 different companies that could buy it, that may not be the best, the best route. I think it's really providing a product that you can start off in kind of a small segment of the market, know that it provides value through, technology and good service, and that as you build your customer base, you can invest back into your products and services and continue to expand, into other segments or larger areas of the industry, whatever it may be. But I think that building that scalable business that provides a great ROI to your customers is really where you need to be thinking. From there, if you're successful and you're growing, I think that's where you start saying, okay, what can we do to position ourselves to get more investment, or or to be acquired if that's your end goal.
Got it.
Greg, I think that's a great summary. And, from my time at Boeing, and as we looked at mergers and acquisitions from an OEM perspective or Boeing perspective, we certainly did all the things that you just described. But there's a cultural aspect there that you look at as well around, customer. Again, I keep saying the customer and talent and how they run the business, not from a technology side, but kind of from a people and engagement perspective as well, that goes into those decisions around mergers and acquisition.
Yeah, for sure. Just because you have like a technology fit or a synergy, there's a lot more to mergers and acquisitions than just making sure the technology fits. There's a lot of things that need to come together to really realize those synergies and end results.
Right.
Hey, Greg, what were some of the things that you had to do to address culture when you brought two companies together?
Yeah, it's definitely it's not an easy thing to do. Actually ATP was 3 different companies all brought together over the last 5 or 6 years, and so definitely a lot of things that had to be done to bring those cultures together. And I think it's just trying to really bring them together and blend the teams together was something that was brought some instant success. If you try and keep everything running separate, you're going to have clashes. You're going to have, kind of the whatever was there in the past is going to continue on. And so I think one of the things we did was really fast track the merge. I would say that we were pretty well merged by the end of 2020, about 6 months into the merger of the two companies. And that was done just by saying, okay, we're doing this. Like, we're going to pull off the Band-Aids. We're going to get these teams working together. And we saw pretty good success in doing so.
Great. Good. Hey, Greg, what was the hardest part over the last 13 years?
That's tough to say. It's been a constant grind. Like I said, we've been through, several platforms. We've grown the team, gone through these investments and acquisitions. So it's tough to say what the hardest part is. It seems like a blur, but that's what I love to do. I love the constant grind. I love, creating new products, bringing them to market, selling them, supporting them. So I'd say it's been a great ride.
Good. Hey, at this point in time in aviation, what are you the most excited about?
I think for me, obviously I come from my background is technology in aviation, and I just see some really cool companies out there that are looking to do some big things in technology. Like I said, there's money backing them. These are companies that, they know what they want to accomplish, and they have the resources to do so. And so, I think we're going to see some really cool products hit the market here in the next few years. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hey, we do have one question that came up from Tim Alden, and I know he's with Rusada. I'll say that, but he wants to know, what's your secret?
What's my secret? My secret is the bad lighting that Mark and Larry were giving me a hard time on. You can't see the grays too much, and but they're coming in quick. I now have 3 kids here at home, and every day it seems like they're popping up more and more.
Well, at 25, 26 years old, Greg, you must be about ready to retire, right? Or maybe older, but yeah.
Just a little bit.
What's next? What are you going to do now? What's next?
Yeah, I mean, so like I said, took a little bit of time off over the summer to hang with the kids. I have a 9-month-old as well, so it was good to spend some time with the baby. But like I said, I love creating new technology, whether it's building things from scratch or helping an existing product go to the next level. Love building sales teams, love, all the new marketing stuff that's going on right now, whether it's things like we're doing right now, podcasts, video content. And I'm really just looking to partner with companies who are looking to take their business to the next level. I think that my experience over the last 10 years, I've really been able to put a lot of pieces together, and drive, build a successful company, constant growth. And I'm just looking to do that again, whether it's a single company or multiple companies. And so, if anybody's interested in working together or picking my brain on how you could take your company to the next level, give me a shout here on LinkedIn, and I'll keep you guys posted on what's next as it develops.
Well, Greg, we're definitely interested. There's no question about that. Yeah. Well, good. Well, I think there's a great opportunity for you. Here at our business at Digital Aircraft, we focus on helping people to be able to do digital transformation. We do business consulting. We help people with sales and marketing. And I believe there's a big demand for it. You're very savvy with social media and with technology and things like that. Not everybody is, okay? I almost, a dozen times a week, maybe half a dozen times a week, meet with people who are not comfortable with their ability to be able to grow their company and to leverage technology and leverage all the digital that's happened over the last year. And so that's really one of the things that we focus on. And I wish you the best in that, because I believe there's a big demand for it in aviation. And we're really just beginning to leverage the growth of digital. It was only, I think it was 3 years ago, maybe 2 to 3 years ago, I spoke at a conference in Bangkok, and I talked about how we can get regulators to accept digital. We don't even talk about that right now. Everybody's accepting digital, and the regulators are not accepting it. They're actually demanding it today because it gives them better visibility, better insight, remote control, things like that. And so many factors have changed in such a short period of time. It creates a tremendous opportunity to do, what it is that you're talking about doing right now. So I think we're all positioned really well, for a great deal of success in aviation and digital transformation, over the next couple of years. If we can just get past, this international travel challenge that we have right now. And, for those of you watching internationally, I'm sorry that we can't come and visit you. The year before the pandemic, I traveled 480,000 miles. Most of it was international. And, travel in the U.S. has picked up, just dramatically. We're almost at 2019 levels for the people that are traveling domestically, all right? However, there's still lots of challenges in traveling internationally. And so one of the big challenges we have is figuring out how to tackle that. And I personally think that we just have to continue to focus on remote and digital access like this. Right now, guys, we're having this, this broadcast in 3 different parts of the country, all right? And there's no reason that we can't talk to people and communicate and connect with people in these kind of manners and help the business to grow. But I'm really excited about it, Greg. I think it's a great opportunity to leverage the skills that you have, and I wish you the best, in going forward.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's great to be on here, and great to talk about all the great things that are happening here in this industry. So looking forward to what's next.
Fantastic. I think we have an email address that we can put up there where you can get in touch with me. If you have any, further questions, comments, if you'd like to connect with us and talk about, doing business together, or if you're interested in, consulting or digital transformation or sales and marketing, we also get involved in different support of different mergers and acquisitions. And if the right opportunity came up, maybe I could talk Greg into coming and helping us on some of the deals that we're working on. So, I'd love to have that experience.
For sure.
Everybody, thanks so much. Larry, thanks for joining as you do always, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. And Greg, thank you so much for agreeing to join and be with us today. And wish you guys a great day. Fair winds and following seas to all of you watching, and have a great day. Bye.